All right, let's dive into this deep dive. We're tackling how to find the right courtroom. And, well, it's more than just like suing someone where they live. Turns out it's complicated.
Yeah, it can be pretty tricky.
We're looking at venue and forum nonconvenience. You sent over some legal stuff on this, and I gotta say, this stuff is like surprisingly interesting.
Well, these legal moves can really make or break a case, and these aren't just like abstract legal terms. This is stuff that's playing out in courtrooms every single day.
So it's not just about jurisdiction, like if a court even has the power to hear a case, but also where that hearing happens.
That's it. Think of it like setting up a boxing match.
Hmm.
Okay, so jurisdiction is like having the boxing ring,
Hmm.
but venue, that's about picking the arena. It's the specific court within that jurisdiction.
Okay, so you're saying even if I can sue someone in like one court, there might be a better place to do it.
Absolutely. And our sources actually point to 28 U.S. Code Section 33901. I know that sounds like a robot serial number,
Oh boy, here we go.
but it's basically Congress's rule book for figuring out like the right court to pick.
Oh great, legalese already.
This law, it basically says that a case should be heard where the defendant lives, where the like key events happened, or if all else fails, any district that has personal jurisdiction over them.
So like if someone lives in Texas, well whatever happened in Florida, but then they're getting sued in like Maine, is that where it gets messy?
Exactly. And that messiness, it just really matters.
Right.
Because think about it, you've got witnesses, right? You can be hauling them across the country, different states, different laws, travel costs, all that stuff adds up.
Right.
Picking the wrong venue, it can make a case so much harder, more expensive, and much harder to win.
That makes sense. Okay, this forum nonconvenience thing, this is where it gets interesting to me. It's like a legal trump card from what I'm reading.
It's more like a legal detour, not a complete roadblock. What it means is, even if a case like is filed in a technically correct venue, the court can still hit like the pause button and say, hold on a second. There's a much more sensible place to have this trial.
It's like the legal system hitting the brakes and being like, nope, wrong way, turn around.
Exactly. Our sources actually have a great example of this in action.
Mm-hmm.
Gulf Oil Corp v. Gilbert. Imagine this. Massive warehouse explosion in Virginia, right? But somebody files a lawsuit in New York.
Why New York? Wouldn't all the stuff, the evidence, witnesses be in Virginia?
Well, that's what the defendant said.
Mm-hmm.
And the court agreed. They said that Virginia was the more convenient and logical forum, even though technically the New York court did have jurisdiction.
So it's like not just where the thing happened, but like where's the proof? Where are the people who saw it? Even where the jury's from?
Yeah, all those factors, the Gulf oil case, they actually weighed those private interests, like we talked about,
Mm.
against like the public interest. you know, is it even fair to put this case on a court if it's got nothing to do with that community?
Okay, starting to see how strategic this gets. So let's say a court actually uses this forum nonconvenience power. What happens? Do they just say, too bad, go file this somewhere else?
Well, they've got two options. One is dismissal, basically hitting the reset button. Case gets kicked out, you got to start over. In the court thinks is actually appropriate.
So that could mean a whole new court system, different state, different country even.
Exactly. And that can be a huge deal. Imagine the clock runs out, statute of limitations, because now you're refiling somewhere new, or the laws are totally different and not in your favor.
Oof, talk about adding insult to injury. But you said there was another option.
Right. Instead of just dismissing it, they can transfer the case.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that other code comes in. 28 U.S. Code 1404. This one's not as scary.
Okay, good. Lay it on me.
Basically, it's like moving the case, but within the same court system. Like switching branches of a bank, same bank, different location, usually about making things more efficient.
So if a case is filed in, say, California, but it really should be in, I don't know, Kansas, I can just move it. No restarting from scratch.
Right, but here's the catch. Usually, it only works if the case could have been filed in that new place to begin with. More about streamlining, not totally upending things.
Gotcha. So dismissal, that's the hard reset, huge consequences. Transfer is more like strategic realignment. Man, this whole venue thing is way more cutthroat than I thought. Makes you wonder, do people try to game the system with this?
Oh, more than you'd think. That's where forum selection clauses come in. Think of them like prenups, but for legal battles. Right there in the contract.
Wait, so you can choose your legal battleground in advance? No venue surprises?
Exactly. You spell it out, which court will handle any disputes. Bring some certainty to the whole thing.
Sounds like a good idea to me. So no more venue showdowns then. Everyone knows where they stand.
You'd hope so. But law, it always finds a way to get complicated. Courts, They generally honor these clauses, but they're not ironclad.
Seriously. You could have it in writing, and they could still be like, nope, not happening.
It's rare, but yeah. There's a big case, Atlantic Marine Construction Company v. U.S. District Court. The Supreme Court basically said these clauses matter, but courts can overrule them. If it'd be super unfair to actually enforce it, or if it's against, like, what's good for the public.
So still room for, like, legal maneuvering, even with those clauses. What about when it's different countries involved? We had that plane crash case in the notes, something about Scotland.
Ah, yeah. The Piper aircraft case. This one's wild. Plane crash in Scotland. Lawsuit filed here in the U.S.
Why here? Wouldn't Scotland make more sense?
Right. But the plaintiffs, they probably thought they had a better shot in the U.S. system. But it highlights something crucial. Forum nonconvenience. It can send a case to a foreign court.
Even if, like, their laws are worse for the person suing.
Yeah. The court decided Scotland was the right forum, even if it meant a different outcome for the plaintiff. Shows that forum nonconvenience, it's not about guaranteeing one side wins. It's about making sure the case is heard in a place that makes sense. That's fair, even if it means going international.
Okay, that is huge. So you can't just, like, shop around for the legal system that's best for you. So forum nonconvenience, it's like the great equalizer of the legal system.
It kind of is. It reminds us that courts are supposed to be impartial,
Right.
focused on fairness and practicality, not just letting people bounce their case around the globe looking for, like, the best odds.
Man, this is making me rethink every contract I've ever signed. Like, where could this thing actually end up?
Always good to read the fine print, especially when it comes to legal stuff.
Before we wrap up, any final wisdom for our listeners out there navigating these legal waters?
Don't just memorize the terms. Understand the strategy at play. With venue, forum nonconvenience, knowledge is power.
Right. Knowing your options could save you so much hassle. Time, money, legal headaches. So ask questions, do your research, and don't be afraid to really fight for the forum that makes the most sense for your case. This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like we just went spelunking in the legal system. A huge thanks to our expert for breaking this all down.
Happy to do it. These are important concepts.
And to everyone listening, thanks for coming along on this journey with us. Remember, staying informed is the best way to handle these complicated issues. We'll see you on our next deep dive.